My brother knocked up my wife while we were at a Christmas cabin. When I caught them, Dad snapped, "Stop being dramatic and keep your mouth shut." She said, "Be a man and move on." So I lawyered up, filed for divorce, and watched their business die. Hey Reddit, I trusted my brother like he hung the moon, and I built my whole life around my family. Then he got my wife pregnant, and my dad rewarded him like I was the problem. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I made sure they paid. Before we get to that, let me start from the beginning. My name's Julian. I'm 31 now, but this part of the story starts long before the betrayal. I grew up in a family where my dad ran a commercial HVAC company, my mom kept the peace, and my older brother Grant, 4 years ahead of me, was the golden child everyone adored. And me? I was the kid who learned early how to work, how to stay quiet, and how to take pride in being second place. But back then, none of that mattered, because to me, Grant hung the moon. Growing up, Grant was my hero. Not in some cheesy storybook way, real hero stuff. When neighborhood kids said I was too young to play street hockey, Grant told them I was on his team or he wasn't playing. They let me play. That was our dynamic. Grant and Julian against the world. When I was 8, a group of older kids cornered me and tried to steal my bike. Grant appeared out of nowhere, stepped between us, and told them to get lost. They listened. He helped me up, brushed me off, and said nothing to our parents. That was Grant. Protector first, talker second. Dad put us to work early in his company. By 16, I was hauling tools while Grant, already a journeyman, handled real jobs. Dad treated us differently, but I didn't question it. Grant had the certifications. I was still learning. Still, there were moments that stung. A hospital job came in under budget because I rebuilt 3 rooftop units instead of replacing them, saving close to $50,000. At the company dinner, Dad raised a glass to Grant's excellent project management. Never said my name once. But Grant clapped me on the back after and said, "We both know who did the hard part." That was enough for me back then. When I got my EPA certification at 19, Dad barely nodded. When Grant earned his senior project credential, Dad threw him a party, bought him a truck, invited clients. But Grant never lorded it over me. He'd tell me everything he learned in meetings, make me feel included even when Dad didn't. One memory sticks. I was 22, stressed about my journeyman exam. Grant found me studying in the shop after hours. He cracked open 2 beers. "I'm not sure I'm ready," I told him. "You're ready," he said. "Take the test. Pass it. Prove Dad wrong." I did. 3rd highest score. Dad said, "Good. Now you can take more jobs." Grant took me out that night, told the whole bar his little brother was going to take over the industry. That was the Grant I knew, the Grant I trusted. I met Lucy at 24, operations manager at a pharmaceutical plant. Sharp, straightforward, asked smart questions. We clicked fast. After the project wrapped, I asked her out. She said yes immediately. Grant liked her too. We double date, laugh, talk shop. Once he asked me, "What's your secret with Lucy?" I said, "We talk. We're honest." He looked at his beer and said, "That's simple, huh?" I didn't think anything of it. Lucy and I married 2 years later. Small ceremony. Grant was my best man. His toast was emotional. Said he'd never seen me happier. After the wedding, Lucy joined the business side of Dad's company and transformed it. Dad adored her. Grant leaned on her constantly. We bought a house. Started planning for kids. I was working 70-hour weeks, answering emergency calls. Grant handled client relations. We were the perfect team, or so I thought. This was December of last year, about 8 months before everything exploded. Lucy was spending more time at the office, helping Dad and Grant with expansion bids. 3 new hospital projects, over $2.5 million in work. Lucy was coordinating everything. She stopped wanting to talk about her day. Used to be we'd decompress together at the kitchen table. That stopped. Now she'd come home, barely eat, go straight to her laptop. Said she had documentation to finish, specs to review, presentations to prepare. I'd ask if she wanted help. She'd say, "No, you wouldn't understand this part. It's operational strategy." The dismissiveness in her tone was new, sharp. She started sleeping poorly. I'd wake at 2 a.m., reach for her, find the bed empty, find her downstairs on her laptop. Exhausted but wired. Said she couldn't shut her brain off. Our intimate life dried up. Always too tired, too stressed, had a headache. I didn't push. Figured work was killing her energy. Other things, though. She started taking calls in the other room, keeping her phone face down, getting late texts she wouldn't respond to in front of me. I asked about it once. "Who's texting at 11 p.m.? Work group chat, the bid team. We're coordinating across time zones." She changed her phone password. Used to be we knew each other's codes. One day I tried to check the weather on her phone and couldn't unlock it. When I asked, she said her banking app made her update security. Corporate policy or something. Wasn't defensive. just matter of fact. I let it go. She'd started staying late at the office with Grant, sometimes until 9 or 10 at night. When I'd ask how it went, she'd be vague, tired, said they were making progress on the bids. I was working my own 70-hour weeks, dead tired most nights. They knew it. Then Dad announced the cabin rental for Christmas Eve. Mountain getaway, whole family. Us, Mom, Grant, said we needed to celebrate before the hospital contracts kicked in. Grant thought it was great, said we all needed a break before work consumed the next year. Lucy seemed hesitant, said she had a lot to wrap up. Come on, Grant said. You've been working like crazy. You need this. She agreed eventually. I went to Grant one more time before the trip. We were on a job site, up on a hospital roof inspecting existing equipment. Just us, 60 feet up, cold wind cutting through our jackets. I'm worried about Lucy. He was taking measurements, barely glanced over. Still on that? She's different, distant, won't talk to me. We're not connecting. He set down his tools, turned to face me. Julian, listen, you're working 70-hour weeks. She's working herself to death on these bids. You're both exhausted. This is temporary. Don't make it into something it's not. What if it's more? His expression shifted. Have you thought maybe you're the problem? That stopped me cold. What? You're always at work. She's building something huge for this family, for our company, and you're obsessing over whether she seems tired. Maybe she needs you to step up emotionally, not interrogate her. I felt gut punched. He was right. Lucy was carrying massive responsibility while I was out in the field. I'm being selfish. Grant's expression softened. He put a hand on my shoulder. Not selfish, just stressed. We all are. Give her space. Trust her. Trust your marriage. After Christmas, things calm down. You guys will be fine. He looked me in the eye. You love her? More than anything. Then show her by not making her stress worse. Be patient. Be supportive. I nodded. He was right. I was creating problems. Good man, he said. He'd played me perfectly. Made me doubt myself. Made me the problem. Kept me quiet while he was the one she was talking to at night. That conversation on the roof? That was Grant protecting his access, making sure I stayed blind. The drive to the cabin was what I needed. 6 hours through mountain highways, snow starting around hour 4. Grant drove. Lucy navigated. I sat in back with Mom while Dad followed in his truck with supplies. Old family music playing. Grant doing his terrible Elvis impression. Lucy turning to smile at me, squeezing my hand. This is nice. Yeah, it is. Grant caught my eye in the mirror, winked. See? I told you. The cabin was perfect. 2 stories, exposed beams, stone fireplace, mountain views. 4 bedrooms upstairs around a central hallway. Me and Lucy took the end room. Grant's was 2 doors down. Parents near the stairs. That night felt like family. Dad made his venison chili. We played cards, drank wine, told old stories. Grant reminded everyone about the time I flooded the shop. Dad laughed harder than I'd heard in years. Lucy seemed lighter, more like herself. She leaned against me on the couch, completely relaxed. Around 11, we went to bed. I was dead on my feet. 70-hour weeks catching up with me. Grant's room was 2 doors down. Close enough to hear things if you were awake, but far enough for privacy. They'd have known I'd sleep hard. That I always did after long stretches. That once I was out, I didn't wake easy. Brushed teeth side by side like we used to. She smiled at me in the mirror. This was good. We needed this. We did. We got into bed. She curled into me, said she'd missed this. Missed us. I fell asleep feeling hopeful. I woke around 2 a.m., dry mouth, needed water, reached for Lucy out of habit. The bed was empty, not bathroom empty where the sheets are still warm. Cold empty. She'd been gone a while. I lay there listening. The cabin was silent except for wind outside, pine branches scraping the roof. No water running, no footsteps, no sounds from downstairs. Figured she couldn't sleep again. I got up, felt my way to the bathroom in the dark, splashed water on my face, drank from the tap, stood there for a minute looking at myself in the mirror, came back out into the hallway. The floor creaked under my bare feet. That's when I heard it. Lucy's laugh. Unmistakable. That low, intimate laugh she had. The one that meant she was relaxed, comfortable, coming from Grant's room. I stopped, stood there in the dark hallway trying to process. Then another sound. Her moan. Not pain, not discomfort. The specific rhythm and pitch that I knew from 5 years together. The sound she made during sex. My brain scrambled for explanations. Wrong room. Can't be Grant's room. The walls are thin. Must be from another room. TV, maybe. Misheard. Has to be something else. But I knew that laugh. I knew that moan. I took one step toward Grant's door. Stopped. Listened. Grant's voice, low and rough. Just like that. Yeah. Lucy's breath. Catching. The unmistakable sound of movement, of bodies. My hands clenched into fists. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I stood there for maybe 5 seconds. Could have been 5 minutes. Time went weird. Then I heard her say his name. Grant. Soft. Breathy. I crossed the hallway in 3 steps. Didn't knock. Didn't hesitate. Kicked Grant's door open hard enough that it slammed against the wall. Doorknob punching a hole in the drywall. The room was dark, but moonlight was enough. Enough to see Lucy on top of Grant. Enough to see them freeze. Enough to see her face. The shock and horror and guilt. She gasped. "Julian!" I crossed the room, grabbed Grant by his throat, yanked him off the bed. He hit the floor hard, tried to scramble up. I slammed him against the wall, felt the drywall crack. His hands came up. I hit him anyway. Felt his nose break. Hit him again. His head bounced off the wall. Lucy was screaming. "Julian, stop! Stop! You're going to kill him!" I pulled back for another hit when arms wrapped around me from behind. "Dad!" He spun me, shoved me hard enough I stumbled into the hallway, put himself between me and Grant. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Not what happened. Not what Grant did. "What's wrong with you?" Behind him I heard Mom crying, Lucy pulling on clothes, Grant spitting blood. I looked past Dad at Grant. Blood pouring from his nose, lips split, eye swelling. He met my eyes and I saw something I'd never seen before. Not guilt, not shame. Calculation. "You're dead to me. Both of you." I turned toward the stairs. Dad called after me. "Julian, get back here. We need to talk. We need to—" I kept walking, grabbed my jacket, walked out into the snow, got in my truck, hands shaking, started the engine, sat there watching the cabin, all the lights on now, shadows behind curtains. Then I drove. 6 hours through a snowstorm. Never looked back. I went straight to Kevin's place, my best friend and the lead refrigeration tech at Dad's shop. Showed up at 8:30 a.m., hadn't called, probably looked like hell. He took one look, didn't ask questions. "Get inside." His wife Rachel made coffee. I sat at their table staring at nothing. They let me sit for an hour before Kevin asked what happened. I told them everything. Kevin nodded. "You stay here, long as you need." 3 days later, cops showed up. 2 officers. Asked for Julian. Said I needed to come with them. "Assault charges. Grant filed. We need to bring you in." Grant had waited. Got treated at an urgent care clinic. No police report that night. Then filed assault charges 2 days later. Gave him time to coordinate stories with Dad. Time to make sure everyone's version matched. Kevin was already on his phone. They cuffed me, put me in their car. The back seat smelled like disinfectant and sweat. Plastic bench, no handles, cage between me and the front. I watched houses go by through scratched plexiglass. Normal people living normal lives. None of them knew their brother was sleeping with their wife. Booking took 2 hours. Fingerprints, mugshot, stand here, turn left, turn right. Empty your pockets, remove your belt. Sign here, initial here. The holding cell was worse. Concrete bench along one wall. Fluorescent lights humming. No windows. A toilet in the corner with no seat. 3 other guys in there, none of them making eye contact. I sat on that bench and felt time stretch. Didn't have my phone. Didn't know what time it was. Could have been noon. Could have been midnight. That's when it hit me. Really hit me. They were going to paint me as the villain. Grant was the victim. Dad and Mom had already signed statements. Lucy would back Grant's story. I was the unstable one. The violent one. The one who snapped without reason. Nobody was going to ask why I snapped. Nobody was going to question what I saw. They'd already decided I was the problem. I sat there in that cell, under those fluorescent lights, listening to some guy snore on the other bench, and realized I was completely alone. Kevin's lawyer Brennan got me out 18 hours later. Bail set at $15,000. Wiped out half my savings. No contact conditions came next. Couldn't contact Grant or Lucy directly. Everything through counsel. Court date in 6 weeks. Brennan laid it out in his office 2 days later. They're claiming unprovoked assault. Grant says you attacked without warning. Your parents signed statements backing his version. No mention of the affair. In their version, you just snapped. That's bullshit. I know, but that's what's on record. What do? You do exactly what I tell you. No contact with family, no social media, no talking to anyone about this. Nothing that can be used against you. My reputation's already getting destroyed. Dad's telling people I had a breakdown. Let him. We're building a different case. One based on evidence, phone records, financial records, timeline analysis. Their story won't hold up. How long? Weeks? Maybe months? You live clean, work hard, document everything. He pushed a legal pad across his desk. When it comes to court, to official channels, to anything that goes on record, no speeches, only paper. That's your rule. You get emotional in court, you lose. You want justice? Build a case that can't be argued with. I wrote it at the top. No speeches, only paper. Became my legal strategy. In real life, though, I still had a mouth. The damage at work came fast. Dad called a company meeting the day after, told the crew I'd had some breakdown, attacked Grant over business disagreements, needed time to get help, made me sound unhinged. Our biggest client reached out. Facilities director wanted assurances. Had I been working on their systems while unstable? Could they count on me? I wanted to scream the truth. Brennan's voice in my head. No speeches, only paper. Not in court. Not on record. I told the director I was handling a family matter through legal channels, that my work quality had never suffered. They could check my service record. Professional, calm, factual. They seemed satisfied, but the doubt was there. Then the flying monkeys started. Lucy's sister called, said I was abusive, unstable, that I should be ashamed. Her best friend texted, "You're a psycho. She deserves better." My cousin Jennifer started a group text with half the family. Said I attacked Grant without provocation, that I needed serious help, that everyone should keep their distance. I wanted to respond, wanted to defend myself. Kevin stopped me, phone in his hand. Delete the group chat. Block the numbers. They're lying about me. They're trying to provoke you. Don't give them ammunition. Respond once, then you're done. I sent one text to the group. Do not contact me again. Direct all communication through my attorney. Then blocked every number. Lucy's friend kept trying from different numbers. Blocked each one without reading. Brennan brought in a forensic accountant, woman named Catherine who looked like somebody's grandmother, but had eyes like a shark. She subpoenaed phone records. Mine, Lucy's, Grant's, cell tower data, text metadata, call logs going back over a year. She subpoenaed the cabin rental. Owner had cameras, one at the top of the stairs facing the landing. Motion activated. Time-stamped. Showed me arriving at my truck at 2:14 a.m. Showed Lucy leaving our room area and stopping at Grant's door at 1:48. The owner was a retired sheriff, but getting that footage wasn't automatic. First time Brennan reached out, the owner said he needed to see a warrant. Didn't want to get involved in family drama. Took Catherine 3 weeks to get the subpoena processed, then another week of back and forth before the owner finally reviewed what was on the footage. When he did, everything changed. He watched it, looked at the police report, looked at me. Son, I know what this shows. Your lawyer can have it. No charge, neutral witness, objective evidence. But it took a month to get there. A month of not knowing if we'd have the proof we needed. Catherine found more. Joint account activity. Lucy had been making cash withdrawals over months. Small amounts, easy to miss. Grant's credit card showed hotel charges. Different cities than where the conferences actually were. They'd been sloppy. Phone records were the hammer. Call logs and text timestamps between them going back 9 months. Hundreds. They'd used an auto-delete app, but the metadata showed volume. Calls at odd hours. Catherine explained we had frequency and duration, not content, but that was enough to establish a pattern. One stood out. 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. 38 minutes. I checked my calendar. That was the night Lucy said she couldn't sleep. The night I found her downstairs at 2 a.m. She'd been on the phone with Grant, while I slept upstairs. The initial batch of records had gaps, though. Catherine warned me it might not be enough yet. Some calls were to work numbers. Some timestamps could be explained away. Then Lucy's lawyer made a mistake, demanded discovery for my devices. Brennan countered with the same demand. During the imaging process, they found deleted messages on Lucy's phone. Not the content, but recovery timestamps showing deliberate deletion patterns matching key dates. That filled the gaps. Kevin kept me from spiraling. He'd check on me daily, make sure I wasn't doing something stupid. One night, I was in his garage going through evidence, getting angrier. Kevin came out, took the papers from my hands. "What are you doing?" "Looking at how they betrayed me." "No. You're feeding your anger. That won't help. I should be angry. You should be strategic. Brennan's building a case. You getting worked up just makes you more likely to screw it up." He was right. "Talk to Roy tomorrow," Kevin said. "He wants to meet." Roy was a legend in commercial HVAC, ran the biggest independent shop in the state. I'd met him at industry events, always respected his work. We met at a diner. He bought coffee, got straight to it. "Heard about your situation. Sounds like you got a raw deal." That's one way to put it. I need a senior technician, someone who knows complex systems, someone with work ethic. You interested? You're offering me a job? Good money, full benefits, company truck. You work hard, there's room to grow. Why? Because competence doesn't care about family drama. I've seen your work. I know your reputation. Your family's loss is my gain. I took the job. Started the following Monday. Brennan handled the smear campaign the same week. Drew up a cease and desist letter. Sent it to Dad, Grant, and Lucy. Legal language. Defamation claims. Demand to stop spreading false statements about my mental state or face legal action. Dad called Brennan's office. Said he was just trying to protect the company. Brennan's response was ice. Your son is documenting every false statement. Continue at your legal peril. The calls stopped. I also talked to Roy's office manager that first week. If anyone from my family shows up, don't admit them. Don't share my schedule. Don't give them any information. She nodded. Understood completely. We've had situations before. Quiet power. That's what Kevin called it. Not yelling. Not fighting. Just shutting doors calmly and completely. I filed for divorce 2 weeks after charges. Brennan moved fast. Motions to freeze accounts, prevent asset disposal, force financial disclosure. Lucy tried to call. I didn't answer. Her lawyer tried the assault angle, claimed I was dangerous, requested restraining order. Brennan countered with cabin footage, phone records, hotel charges, cash withdrawals. Showed 9 months of deception. Showed her stopping at Grant's door willingly. Showed contradictions in Grant's report. Her lawyer backed off within days. Then she dropped the pregnancy. 8 weeks. Claimed it was mine. Wanted to pause divorce. Wanted to negotiate. Brennan shut it down. Demanded court-ordered paternity testing. Results sealed. Shared through official process. Non-negotiable. She tried reaching through Dad. He called saying we needed to talk about the baby, our future. I told him to call my lawyer. Hung up. She tried through mutual friends. Messages saying she made a mistake. She was sorry. Same answer. Lawyer. The business war started when Dad called an all-hands meeting. Announced Grant would take operational control. Said I needed time for personal issues. Would be stepping back from client work. Grant gets rewarded. I get sidelined. I didn't argue. Just walked out. 8 employees followed me to the parking lot. Best techs. Guys who knew I ran technical while Grant coasted. The first wave hit in 10 days. The rest bled out over the next 6 weeks. 4 more called that night. Said they wanted to come but needed time. Had families. Needed to line things up first. One was Frank, our best commercial installer. Said he'd give notice in 2 weeks. I called Roy. Told him I was bringing 8 now, maybe 4 more in a couple weeks. I can take 6 immediately. The others I'll bring on as contractors until I have full-time spots. Work? Works. 2 guys had to wait 3 weeks for openings. 4 more trickled over. By the time the dust settled, we'd pulled 12 total. But 3 good guys stayed behind. One of them was Travis. 15 years with the company. Watched him stay in his seat when I walked out. Looked torn, but stayed. I ran into Travis 6 months later at a supply house. He looked rough, thinner, exhausted. Julian, man, I should have come with you. What happened? Stayed another 4 months. Thought loyalty meant something. Checks started bouncing in June. Grant disappeared. Dad shut everything down. Been freelancing since. He looked at his hands. I was scared. Had a mortgage, 2 kids. Thought staying was safer. I gave him Roy's number. Call him. Mention my name. Roy hired him 2 weeks later. But that hesitation cost Travis 4 months of bounced checks and scrambling. That's what loyalty to the wrong people gets you. Stayed out of fear or loyalty or whatever. Then I called our biggest clients. The ones where I'd personally designed systems. Solved critical failures. Explained I'd left. Gave them Roy's information. Said the choice was theirs. 3 switched within a week. Dad's business lost a third of its technical staff and almost 40% of revenue across those 6 weeks. One guy who came with me, senior tech named Chris, had been keeping notes for months. Grant had been cutting corners, using uncertified people for refrigerant work, skipping inspections, falsifying logs. Chris had documentation, photos, emails, internal memos showing Grant explicitly ordering shortcuts to save money. He filed with the state licensing board in late April. The investigator showed up at Dad's office 2 weeks later, spent 6 hours going through files, found exactly what Chris reported. The board issued preliminary findings, 12 citations for code violations, use of unlicensed personnel, and falsified documentation. They suspended Dad's qualifying master license temporarily pending a full review hearing. The hearing happened in June. The investigator presented findings. Chris testified. Documentation was entered into record. The board made the suspension permanent. Revoked Dad's master license. Company name flagged in the state database. Can't do commercial HVAC without a qualifying master license. Not legally. The company was effectively dead. Dad called. Desperate. Julian, son, we can fix this. Come back. You chose Grant. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Live with it. Hung up. Grant tried next. Blocked number. I answered by accident. We need to meet. Talk this through. Nothing to talk about. I'll drop the assault charges. Complete dismissal. If you come back and help. I recorded it. Sent it to Brennan. Brennan called the prosecutor, guy named Henderson, sent the extortion recording via certified mail, with a cover letter explaining this was witness tampering and attempted coercion. Henderson didn't bite at first, called back 3 days later, annoyed. Said he had 100 cases more serious than family disputes. Said the recording was interesting, but didn't necessarily prove anything about the original assault. Grant could argue he was trying to reconcile, not extort. Brennan pushed back, requested a formal meeting. Henderson kept postponing. 2 weeks of nothing. Brennan getting frustrated, me getting more anxious. What if this doesn't work? I asked him. Then we go to trial and present everything to a jury. But that's expensive, time-consuming, and risky. Juries are unpredictable. This could still go sideways? He looked at me straight. Yes, even with everything we have. That's the truth. Finally, Henderson agreed to review everything. He reviewed the cabin footage, the phone records, the timeline, called in Grant for a follow-up interview. Grant's story changed slightly. Small details that didn't match the original statement. Grant contradicted himself under basic questioning. That's what turned it. Not the extortion recording alone. The inconsistencies. Henderson offered a deal. Simple assault, misdemeanor. Anger management classes. Sealed record after completion. I took it. Finally over. 2 weeks later, paternity results came back. Baby was Grant's. Lucy tried calling. 16 times in 1 day. Didn't answer. Divorce finalized 3 weeks later. Clean split. House sold. Equity divided. Lucy got nothing extra. Her infidelity was documented. Her deception proven. We were done. Banks called their loans within 2 weeks of the license revocation. Dad had personally guaranteed everything. Close to $90,000 in business debt. Equipment loans. Operating line of credit. Building mortgage. The equipment went to auction first. Trucks, tools, diagnostic equipment, specialty tools worth thousands. Sold for pennies on the dollar. Dad stood there watching people bid on stuff he'd accumulated over 30 years. The building went on the market. Sat empty for 4 months before selling at a loss. Dad had to cover the difference. Wiped out their savings. Drained their retirement accounts. Mom called me during this time. Not asking for money. Just telling me what was happening. Her voice was hollow. We're losing everything. The house is next. Banks starting foreclosure proceedings. I could hear her crying. Not dramatic sobbing. Just quiet, defeated tears. The sound of someone watching 30 years dissolve. I packed up the guest room today, she said. All your grandmother's things. The quilts she made. I don't know where they'll go. We're moving to a rental, 2 bedrooms. There's no space. She wasn't trying to manipulate me. She was just breaking. Needed someone to witness it. I'm sorry, Mom. Are you? You could stop this. You could help. I could enable it. There's a difference. She hung up. They declared bankruptcy in August. Chapter 7. Personal and business. Lost the house. Dad tried to restructure under a new name. Applied to get a new master HVAC license under a different entity. Couldn't. Grant's name was flagged as a responsible party in the system. Dad's business history was flagged. Every application got denied automatically. Dad was 61. No business. No assets. No prospects. His cousin in Ohio offered warehouse work. Loading and unloading. Physical labor. Starting pay was about $50,000 a year. From running a multi-million-dollar company to warehouse work. 3 generations. Destroyed in under a year. Grant disappeared in July. Just vanished. Lucy woke up 7 months pregnant and found a note. Said he needed space to think. Would be in touch. He'd drained their account. Over 40,000. Gone. Classic. Create chaos. Run when consequences arrive. Mom called in August. Dad wanted to meet. I almost said no, but Mom had never done anything to me. She'd signed that statement because Dad pushed her. 1 meeting. I sat in my truck outside the diner for 20 minutes before going in. Hands on the steering wheel. Engine off. Watching people come and go through the front door. Found myself thinking about the bike incident. Grant stepping between me and those older kids. The way he'd helped me up after. Checked that I was okay. How safe I'd felt knowing he had my back. That brother was gone. Maybe he'd never really existed. Maybe I'd built him up in my head. Turned him into something he wasn't. Or maybe he'd been real once and chose to become someone else. Either way, I was sitting in a parking lot, grieving someone who was still alive. Missing a relationship that was already dead. That hurt worse than the betrayal somehow. The loss of what we'd been. What I'd thought we were. I sat there shaking. Took 3 deep breaths. Reminded myself why I was here. Mom. Not him. Then I went inside. We met at a diner. Dad looked like he'd aged 20 years. Gray, thin, hollow. He slid a folder across the table. Business ownership papers. I can rebuild this. With your help, your reputation, your client base. I didn't touch it. No. Just like that, I leaned forward. You had 2 sons. One who worked 70-hour weeks, who saved you money on jobs, who brought in major contracts, and one who slept with his brother's wife, who cut corners, who falsified documents, who ran when things got hard. You chose Grant. Every time. Even in that hallway, you protected him first. I pushed the folder back. It's all that's left, Dad. The name, the shell, the scraps. And I don't want any of it. His face crumpled. Started crying. Julian, please, I was wrong. I should have believed you. Yeah, you should have. I stood up. Mom's welcome at my place, always. But you made your choice. I walked out. Mom called me 2 days later. Not Dad. Just her. Julian, please, can we talk? Just you and me? We met at a coffee shop. She looked exhausted, older. She'd lost weight. She started with the guilt. Your father is devastated. He knows he was wrong. He's losing everything. The house, the business, his pride. I let her talk. Didn't interrupt. Finally, she stopped. Looked at me. Say something. Mom, I love you. You're welcome at my place anytime. You want to leave Dad and stay with me? My door's open. But I'm not talking about Dad. I'm not talking about Grant. I'm not helping save the business. But they're family. They stopped being my family when they chose each other over me. Her eyes filled. We can work through this. Families forgive. I leaned forward. Do you know what Grant did? Really know? I know he made a mistake with Lucy. I know you were hurt. He didn't make a mistake, Mom. He had a 9-month affair with my wife. He gave me advice about my marriage while he was the problem. He looked me in the eye and made me doubt myself so I wouldn't catch them. That's not a mistake. That's calculated betrayal. She was crying now. But he's still your brother. No, he's Dad's son. He's your son. But he's not my brother. Not anymore. She tried again. Brought up childhood memories. Reminded me of good times. Same message each time. Doors open for you. Not for them. What about forgiveness? I was raised to be fair, not to be a doormat. There's a difference. She left crying. 3 weeks later, Mom called. They were moving to Ohio. Dad's cousin had warehouse work. They'd be renting. I told Mom again. Doors open for you, not for him. She couldn't leave him. Had to stand by her husband. I understood. Lucy had the baby in September. Girl. Healthy. She sent word through a mutual friend. I didn't respond. Not my problem. Except Grant was still gone. I got a call weeks later. Unknown number. Almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Grant's voice. Haven't heard it in 10 months. Julian, don't hang up, please. How'd you get this number? Called Kevin. Convinced him to pass it along. Just hear me out. 5 minutes. I should have hung up. Wanted to, but curiosity won. 5 minutes. I'm in Portland. Working construction under the table. Living week to week in a motel. Traffic noise in the background. Sirens. I messed up. I know that now. I destroyed everything. You didn't throw it away. You calculated it. You managed me. Kept me blind and productive while you betrayed me. Long silence. I could hear him breathing. I was selfish. I wanted what you had. You want to know what hurts most? Not the affair. Not even losing Lucy. It's that you gave me advice. Multiple times. About my marriage. You looked me in the eye on that roof and made me doubt myself. You weaponized my trust. That's what I can't forgive. More silence. When did it start? About 9 months before you found out. We were working late on the first hospital bid. She was stressed. I was stressed. We started talking. It just sort of evolved. No, you chose. Every single time. And when I caught you, you filed assault charges. Let Dad and Mom sign statements calling me unstable. That was Dad's idea. You made that call offering to drop charges if I helped. That was you. He didn't respond. I'm not sorry you lost everything. You earned every bit of that. Here's what you're going to do now. You're going to figure out how to support your daughter. You're going to take responsibility for once in your life. Can you do that? I don't know. Quietly, almost a whisper. I don't know if I can. Then figure it out. But don't call me again. Don't ask for money. Don't ask for help. Don't ask for forgiveness. We're not brothers anymore. We're nothing. Julian, please, I hung up. Sat there watching workers climb into trucks. Head home. My phone rang again. Same unknown number. I blocked it. Kevin asked me later if I felt like I'd won. Told him it felt more like I survived. But survival's enough. I'm 31 now. Still at Roy's. He's talking about making me a partner in 5 years. My name on the door eventually. We're bidding on projects Dad's company could never touch. No contact with Grant. Heard he's back in state, working residential, making almost nothing. Barely sees his daughter. Dad and Mom are in Ohio. Mom texts sometimes, sends pictures. I send short updates. Enough to let her know I'm okay. Lucy's raising Grant's daughter alone, working multiple jobs, struggling. Someone said she reached out to Dad for help. He had nothing to give. Some bridges you don't rebuild. You just walk away and build better ones. You don't survive betrayal by being soft. You survive by being smart, by being patient, by building a case they can't fight, by letting other people's choices destroy them while you build something they can't touch. That's not revenge. That's just living well while they face consequences. And that's enough. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.